Amid all of the Epstein turmoil for Trump, and we'll later get into the latest revelations on that, at least some of the right-wing media, and definitely Trump and definitely Tulsi Gabbard, have found their newest shiny object. I'll try not to reiterate everything that I did yesterday, but there's some new twists and turns in this. And it's Tulsi coming out with this utterly BS argument that she found in intelligence documents, the bombshell that proves all of the Russian meddling in the election was all a big hoax. Trump was right. Obama knew it from the beginning. He admitted it, and the documents prove that. Obviously, that's not what it is. And actually, if anyone's fabricating intelligence for their political aims, it's Tulsi Gabbard. And I'll remind you of that as we go through it. But Trump was posting, "Great job by young and talented Harrison Fields" on Fox News. The panel was fantastic on prosecuting Obama and the thugs who have just been unequivocally exposed on highest level election fraud. Congratulations to Tulsi Gabbard. Keep it coming. Then he was posting, along with a lot of videos. I'll show you some of the videos he was posting, and just a panic-induced conspiracy drive here. He was also posting... If you're trying not to look like a conspiracy theorist, don't do one of these graphics with all the red Sharpie and circles and headlines. This just looks like a conspiracy theory creation of the Russian hoax. And then it goes through all these different things. He was all throughout the day and night posting videos from Fox News and anywhere else that was talking about this story, begging his followers, please focus on this. You remember how much we liked talking about Russia? It was a hoax like Epstein. And here's an example on Jesse Waters' show.
Fox News alert, we just got a peek inside Obama's black book, and it turns out Barack knew the Russia hoax was a hoax all along, but pushed it anyway to sabotage the Trump presidency. DNI Tulsi Gabbard declassifying pages and pages of documents showing Obama's intel guys briefed him just weeks after the 2016 election that the Russians didn't actually sway the election. Quote, "We assessed that Russian and criminal actors did not impact the recent U.S. election results. Criminal activity also failed to reach the scale and sophistication necessary to change election outcomes."
So it's really fascinating, since we've looked at the documents they're talking about, to see how they're pulling out those little quotes. What essentially was brought forward, which is, it's not even that it's not a bombshell. It's literally not news. It's what we've known forever, which is that Russia was doing it's actually embarrassing to Trump that they're talking about this again, that Russia was doing all these different things trying to help Trump. Let me just say again, does this mean that he wasn't legitimately elected the president? No. But should our intelligence community be concerned with it and be gathering evidence? And then the Senate committee led by Marco Rubio and Republicans investigating, and then special counsel investigating, all substantiating the same thing, which is across all hacking emails, social media operations, trying to undermine Hillary Clinton in all these different ways. One of the things they did do was hack election databases, like registration databases. And then they weren't able to hack the vote counting process, the ballot counting process, to shift the election results towards Trump. Correct. If they had done that, we would be having a very different conversation. So they bring this back up and go, see, he knew that it was all a lie. What? You're just reminding us of how bad Putin wanted Trump to be president. Whew. And you can make arguments that it definitely had an influence, but could they find evidence that, and this is not something we believed that it had the capability to do anyways, because this would throw our entire electoral process into chaos, that they were flipping votes for Trump somehow through some nebulous hacking operation? No, that's not what was ever believed, which is what they're bringing up. And then saying it proves Obama should be in jail. And that's the next part of this I'll show you.
But Obama just couldn't accept that. So he and his staff instructed intel agencies to cook up new reports to support Russia collusion. Quote, after the meetings, Clapper's executive assistant emailed intelligence community leaders, tasking them to create a new intelligence community assessment per the president's request that detailed the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election.
This just really demonstrates to you the nature, the texture, the manner of a conspiracy theory, and then how it has to be delivered. Tucker does this a lot. If you just put nice graphics on the screen and then say it in an ominous tone, per the president's request. But before you read the quote, you tell them what the quote's going to say, even if it doesn't. And Obama directed something to be cooked up that was fabricated. And then you read the actual quote, and it's not that. And it's, yes, the US president should direct intelligence agencies to figure out what was the scope of Moscow's meddling. And after years of investigation, while some of what randos out in the world and media figures claimed turned out to be wrong, like there was direct coordination between Putin and Trump, and Putin was the puppet of Trump, right? And you can condemn those sorts of bombastic claims, fine. But that they did do all sorts of things, hacking the DNC, they did engage in social media operations to undermine Hillary Clinton, and they were attempting to hack election infrastructure, and they did in some cases, but not in a way that tampered with the vote counting. And then he reads it ominously, and the conclusion that comes out of the minds of the viewers is all of a sudden so distorted. It's really fascinating, almost impressive if it weren't so dishonest. As we continue to do this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show.
The only logical conclusion that I can draw in this, Maria, is what you're implying here directly, is that there was direct intent to cover up the truth about what occurred and who was responsible, and the broad network of how this seditious conspiracy was concocted and who exactly was responsible for carrying it out.
So at the end of the day, we need to look at Pam Bondi. Is that the person who at the end of the day is going to bring us accountability? Pam Bondi?
Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, it is their responsibility to gather all of the evidence, both that we have released, the facts that have already been known previously, the information that will continue to come out, and move forward.
Well, I hope part 2, she keeps saying more information might come out. I hope part 2 has actual bombshells in it, because this is disappointing. I saw even some right-wing accounts going, I really, I love, my middle name is Russia hoax, but this feels a little desperate to distract from how mad we are. Is Pam Bondi going to save the day? Can this help her revamp her reputation?
I understand that there is more, perhaps, that you are going to come out with next week. And I was told that that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago. That they wanted to find the Trump.
Yes! Just throw it all in the freaking pot. Who cares? You got some extra cucumber? Throw it in there. What the hell? It's a smorgasbord. Who cares? We're making a smorgasbord and a charcuterie board. Put it, you got some extra H cheese? Throw it in there. What the hell? It's the FBI's raid was to get the documents that proved that what Obama was claiming versus what was being said was perfectly aligned.
Russia documents that indicated there was absolutely no collusion and that there was no evidence to even start such an investigation. But Trump didn't have it there in Mar-a-Lago, but that's why they raided his house in 2022. Is that correct?
I don't have the details on the specifics of the Mar-a-Lago raid itself. Those are within the possession of the FBI. But there's no question in my mind that this intelligence community is...
DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, what's, I got some really nasty food poisoning the other day. Really nasty. I ate this soup, and I couldn't possibly explain to you the disgusting details of what happened afterwards. Did that have anything to do with this hoax? Did that have anything to do with the Russian collusion narrative? I love how she goes, I don't have any information about the raid that could connect to this. So I guess the argument is they had these bombshell documents. Trump took them, never made them public. That's the other part. He was president for 4 years after this. So he could have, if he thought this was a bombshell, he's pretending like it is now, which again is, so imagine the Obama administration or the intel community or whatever is going, all right, fact from fiction. What do we know? What do we don't? What do we not? And they had this whole list of what Russia did do to try to help Trump. Doesn't mean Trump wasn't the legitimate president, but just proves that we want to restrict foreign nations' ability as much as possible to get involved in our elections. And what did we not find evidence of them doing? Hacking election infrastructure such that they were able to change voting outcomes. And so then they take these parts and say, see, they were saying nothing happened from Russia. It was all a hoax. And then I guess those documents were in Trump's bathroom, literally. And that's why he kept them. And that's why the FBI raided it. But in the meantime, he never made them public. He was going to. He was reading. It was taking. He's a slow reader. So it was taking him a second to find the bombshell. This is going to get better, by the way. I'm just trying to lay the groundwork in case you haven't heard of this story. Then some of the newest reactions were cracking me up. But it's dangerous. I mean, they're saying treasonous conspiracy. And they go, the punishment for treason is death. They always repeat that. The funniest part that I'm about to get to is Trump was able to get his conservative Supreme Court to say official presidential acts the president has immunity from. So even if this were what they were saying that it was, which is not, Obama would be immune because of the ruling of Trump's Supreme Court, because of Trump's election interference case, when he actually election interfered, but then he got an immunity case off of it. What? Because it would be an official act directing your intel community to investigate something. And then after Obama was gone from the office, then you had a Republican-led Senate investigation, which came up with the same exact concerning connections, meddling efforts by Russia. Marco Rubio, who's now the Secretary of State, was at the top of that. Then you had Mueller's investigation. So there were some things. I just want to say this. I want MAGA, you can come on, join us. It's better over here. And I want you to know, I'm honestly engaging with this. I know that there were people, I can't necessarily at this point, this late in the game, and I wasn't even doing a show back then, remember who was saying what, but there was definitely a narrative that went too far about how directly involved Trump was in that. But does that mean the meddling didn't happen? No. So it's just, come on.
It was the predicate for everything that we're seeing for the past almost 10 years. You started with the Russia hoax. That led to the indictment.
It's Russia hoax. He says 3 Russias, sir.
That led to the impeachments. That led to the lawfare that we saw for years. We all witnessed it. And you know who was in bed with the Democrats and Obama? The media. This was the same media that was pushing this entire narrative that the president was somehow a Russian asset. We all know it was false. We all knew when he was president of the United States what he did to Russia. He gave Ukraine Javelin missiles when Obama gave them
me. Sheets.
Pillows and blankets.
Oh, dang it. Obama, sheets, Trump, javelins, as Trump has informed us.
President Trump was the person that was taking in all the shots from the Democrats from 2016, from the second he came down the elevator. And we all knew it was BS. And now we have Tulsi Gabbard that's able to put out the facts. And this is why if you look at the confirmation hearings, who got it the worst? Tulsi was one of the people that got it the worst because I
think Pete Hegseth too. In Pete's defense, he had it pretty tough too. You remember they're like, oh my gosh, somebody accused of sexual assault. Oh my gosh, you got up on a stage with strippers while you were super drunk and screaming racial epithets. Oh my gosh, you were a terrible leader of the organizations that you led that you had to be ousted because of financial mismanagement. Like, he got it pretty tough in his hearings too. Let's not leave him out of this conversation. So it's the peak of irony. And again, this is all a catastrophic, let me think of a good YouTube title, catastrophic, panic-induced, induced doesn't work that well, distraction effort by Trump, and ironic as you can get, because they're saying that Obama directed fabrications in intelligence reports to hurt Trump, while they're doing a fabricated intelligence report, Tulsi Gabbard, misleading the public about what she found. And when she has to cite evidence, unless something else comes forward, that's always, today I'm recording this, it is July 20th. If July 21st, she comes out with a real bombshell, I'll tell you. But she's doing the very thing that she's accusing Obama of. Let's just move forward. I have a bunch of people, Mark Warner saying it seems DNI Gabbard is unaware that the years-long Russia investigation carried out by the Senate Intelligence Committee reaffirmed that the Russian government directed extensive activity against U.S. election infrastructure ahead of the 2016 election, and that it used social media to conduct an information warfare campaign in order to benefit Donald Trump. This conclusion was supported on a unanimous basis by every single Democrat and Republican on the committee. And despite them attempting the election infrastructure thing, that didn't change the outcome, obviously. Could the combined effect have had a maybe? But in this world of Trump's election denying, I don't even want to walk down that road. Okay? If you want to walk there without me, I don't know who's to say, but I'm not walking down that road. Meanwhile, the account that is widely followed and apparently has sources in the administration that they meet with or something. Cat Turd is the name, Cat Turd, and they're like treated seriously by the Trump administration, which should tell you something about the Trump administration. Said, well, what have we here? And it's a clip of Obama saying no one's above the law. If he doesn't say it in the first 10 seconds of this clip, I'm not going to play more.
Consequences to these actions. They embolden other people to be cruel and divisive and racist.
Okay, he's going to go say, I should have gotten the timestamp in this. I don't want to watch 4 minutes. He says no one's above the law. Hey, guess what? Obviously, that has nothing to do with this. Of course. But also, apparently someone is above the law. Called Activism actually had a really good post on this. The best part about this prosecute Obama bullshit is thanks to MAGA that the Supreme Court ruled that presidents are immune from prosecution. So even if they had the claims that they said that they have, it wouldn't matter. Maze is another one of these right-wing conspiratorial accounts and said, watch how Obama carefully lays the groundwork for the Russia hoax. And this is December 16th, 2016. Let's see what's suspicious about this.
Did Clinton lose because of the hacking?
I'm going to let all the political pundits in this town have a long discussion about what happened in the election. It was a fascinating election, so I'm sure there are going to be a lot of books written about it. We will provide evidence that we can safely provide that does not compromise sources and methods. But I'll be honest with you, when you're talking about cybersecurity, a lot of it is classified and we're not going to provide it because the way we catch folks is by knowing certain things about them that they may not want us to know, and if we're going to monitor this stuff effectively going forward, we don't want them to know that we know.
We have to monitor the state of Russia's interests. And then contrasted with Russia from Hunter Biden's bathroom. How far we've fallen with the outward-facing communications of the White House. Then this Blue Eyes account, right wing, saying what was really in that envelope. And it's at a Bush funeral. Michelle Obama. This is just, imagine how fun it would be to be a conspiracy theorist. What is in that envelope? It looks like they're looking at the program, the funeral program. But all right, let's keep watching. Maybe Russia will be in there somewhere. Maybe the intel report. Maybe something about Diddy. I don't know. They throw it. Maybe Epstein will be in that envelope. Let's see. Can he fit in there? Let's watch. Wait. Is this going to be the whole clip? He's looking over her shoulder as if to say, that's the funeral's program. Wow. All right. What was in the envelope? Was it even an envelope? I don't know. Now, in a moment like this, we need Democrats to fight back more effectively. And I know the audience has mixed feelings about Mamdani, and I've explained, where I agree, where I disagree, but oh, baby, he's on to something with his PR work. And also presenting a more generational change type vision, even if some I don't find super pragmatic, but some of it's good. And look at how this is what needs to be done by Democrats. Preempt the right-wing attacks, because then they seem really silly. Watch this. He's traveling to Uganda, and watch how he announced this.
Being a politician means listening, not just to your supporters, but your critics too. And some of these critics, especially on a certain website, have been giving me consistent advice. For example, @SamWhite087. Zoran, go back to Uganda, where you come from and belong. @TeflonGone. Loser, go back to Africa. There are thousands like this from across the country. I hear you. And I agree. I'm going back to Uganda. I'm headed there in a personal capacity to celebrate Rama and I's marriage with our family and friends. But I do want to apologize to the haters, because I will be coming back. And since you will undoubtedly read about this trip in the New York Post, inshallah on the front page, here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA, Mamdani in Africa. Uganda miss me. He's completely crazy. The Afra can't be serious. Carl Kampala-Neely investigates Mamdani. Zoe running away.
Yes. Can you imagine Chuck Schumer trying to film that? Can you imagine Nancy Pelosi tried? We need people with love to them, I guess. We need people who can operate in a political world on social media that does matter now more than ever before. And that means, this is cringe, trolling the haters. Like, do that thing. That's good. Oh, it's cat turd again. Why did I even pull this up? Dude, I was raised in the South and I've been in 40 bar fights. You wouldn't last 3 minutes with me, wimp. Why do people always get to brag about how many bar fights they've been in? Which normally put you at risk of maybe being prosecuted and you could hurt somebody, and it's usually over like the dumbest things. But I can never brag that I've been in 0. Like, come on. It's 2025, guys. You wouldn't handle me because I've never been in a bar fight. Not even once. I do love how they always do that too. Like when you're in a political argument, they'll go, "Oh, you're so tough, but if we were face to face, I'd reach down your throat and rip your heart out." And it's like, no, I don't. This has nothing to do with how much I think I could physically fight you. This has to do with our ideas different. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, if I were with you, I'd cut your foot off and make you eat it. So, all right, gosh, I'm all right. I concede. Can we keep arguing? And then about Democrats fighting back, Beto O'Rourke here says, listen, if Texas is going to redistrict and gerrymander even more absurdly to give Trump more Republican seats, then Democrats need to do it too.
Match fire with fire. I think Democrats in the past too often have been more concerned with being right than being in power. And we've seen Republicans only care about being in power regardless of what is right.
So you support the Newsom effort because California right now has an independent commission that does districts in as fair a way as possible, in nonpartisan way as possible. And you're saying Democrats should, even though you don't approve of it, yes, Democrats should do it too.
Yes.
We have to get serious. We have to be absolutely.
Just say yes. I know he's doing, a more thoughtful answer, but I would just go, yep.
Ruthless about getting back in power. So yes, in California, in Illinois, in New York, wherever we have the trifecta of power, we have to use that to its absolute extent. And then the last thing, this may end up biting Republicans in the ass. You have the possibility that they will disperse Republican voters to make up these 3 or 4 or 5 new congressional districts and put those districts in play. So in Texas, we've got to get out there and register.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hopefully that happens too. But I totally agree. On principle, it is perfectly reasonable to say that you have a principle, but then you go up against someone who is using no principle, just power, and say there's certain places that we're not going to bend on our principle. Like when Trump won, despite Trump trying to stay in power illegally last time he lost, I didn't think Biden should try to do that. Okay? Can you imagine Biden giving a January 6th rally? Just as a quick thought. Listen, folks, we can't, there's still a country. I'll go out to the Capitol. I'll be there with you. With my Skechers on. We're in Skechers now. I took a little tumble so they haven't do Skechers to leather shoes. And I'm going to go down to the Capitol with you. You got to fight. Even if I think he could have, I don't think that would have been correct to try to block the peaceful transfer of power because that's so fundamental. But if you are seeing Republicans rig the game through the gerrymandering, giving themselves, fabricating new seats out of it that could put them in jeopardy a little bit, but most likely will help them, then I think it's totally fine to say, hey, in the short term, in places that we have power, we're going to gerrymander to counteract your efforts. Then once we get power, we're going to pass voting rights legislation that bans partisan gerrymandering. Yes, I do think that that's still principled. AOC, the LA Times reporting, is backing the redistricting in blue states to fight Republicans. We shouldn't have one set of rules for one and one for the others. Like, what is it? Maybe you feel good, but no matter how many times we're smelling our own flatulence about how great we are, that we don't engage in those sort of things, which some Democrats do sometimes, but the principle is kind of worthless if we just keep getting pounded. I'm so tired of being pounded by Republicans on redistricting. Hey, speaking of, Howard Lutnick says that we're going to have some big trade deals in how many weeks? I think you can guess.
They're going to open their markets or they're going to pay the tariff. And if they open their markets, the opportunity for Americans to export, to grow their business, farmers, ranchers, fishermen, this is going to be, the next 2 weeks are going to be weeks for the record books. President Trump is going to...
There needs to be a Trump administration-wide memo that says no one can use the phrase 2 weeks. No, ever. Doesn't matter. We've made too many false promises on that. Oh, by the way, what we're doing here is getting the other markets to open up more so they'll be importing more American products. The opposite is happening. I was just hearing a story from someone who is talking. So this isn't the best sourced reporting, but I just had this conversation at dinner last night from a friend of a friend who is Canadian and was walking through, I think it was a grocery store, and just seeing that they're labeling products as made in Canada and the American products are just rotting away and they're cutting off buying from the US. So the exact opposite of what they promise is happening. And meanwhile, ABC News reports more than 24 million Americans could see their ACA healthcare premiums surge by an average of 75% starting January 2026. So we're going to keep this sort of information in focus too, as we keep up with the insanity of the Epstein Trump administration crisis and all of it. And speaking of that, we're going to talk about it next.